Welcome back to the channel. I'm Alan. This is All In Driving. It's been a couple weeks since I worked on my car, but I've gotten autocross this weekend and I'm ready to swap out the front brakes. They arrive tomorrow, but I'm gonna go ahead and get the old brakes off now, get everything started. So I hope you're ready. Let's go all in. Where'd this come from? Couple problems. So I've already got my lugs loose. So I'm just going to hand screw them off. Get the tire off first. I might need a little extra help. Squeeze the bottom one. Sometimes there's a lot of extra pressure on it. Shouldn't be. That's fine. When you're putting your lug nuts back on, you want to do it in kind of a star pattern, but as far as I'm concerned, taking them off doesn't matter. Just get them all off. All right. Tires off. The caliper's next. All right, so I'm going to do the caliper. The bolt up top, bolt at the bottom. They're a little rusty, but neither one is too tough. So whenever I'm doing any work on my car, I just keep bolts, everything next to what it goes to. A lot of car work is pretty straightforward. The diagnosing is the problem. So a lot of times if you just take things off and put them back with the new parts on the way they were. All right, so I removed 2 bolts here, and I think if I was just doing the pads that would have been good enough. But there are two larger bolts back here holding the rest of the caliper on. So I'm going to remove those. And I do think if I had gotten to these sooner, I wouldn't have had to have changed out the other bolts. They could have stayed where they were at. All right. So there's the entire caliper. Pads can just pinch to the middle. Take one out. Doesn't look terrible. Rusty as crap on this side, but Has some life left in them, I think. Since the calipers are off, I'm thinking about giving them a quick buzz and maybe a coat of paint. So now that the caliper and the brake pads are off, all we have to do is get off the rotor. Should be fairly straightforward, but like everything else, this one's rusted on pretty good. Should just be able to rip at it. So, a couple things I'm going to try. Pound on it a little bit. See if I'll loosen it. And then we get our old friend, the PB blaster. And I'm going to spray around this ring and around the bolts themselves. I don't think that's where it's stuck, but since I've got it out, I'll hit that as well. Make sure there's something to catch the drips. Put another one down here. So we'll let that sit for just a minute, but I'm kind of impatient. Night's getting long, so smack at it a little bit. There we go. Rotor's off. It looks pretty good, but like I said, I'm getting new upgraded brakes anyway, so that's where we're at. We're going to leave this as is for tonight. I'm going to go do the other side, and we'll see you in the morning. All right, it's day 2. I'm changing my front brakes, but I've got a decision to make. I can either get the brakes bled and change rotors and pads today, or I can paint the calipers, they're pretty gnarly, and get to that other stuff on Thursday. And I think that's the road I'm gonna go. Work took a long time today, so I can't do everything today. But let's get into cleaning and preparing the calipers to paint them. And then we'll work on the other stuff on day 3. So you can already see the difference. I've sprayed brake cleaner on the whole thing, and then I've started already using the wire brush on this side. This side's still black. The biggest thing I need to do is just watch out for the rubber gasket. Anything else that will get ruined with the wire brush, like Like my thumb almost did earlier. I got a nice little poke in my thumb. And that's why I've got gloves on. So now that I've got a lot of the loose debris off, I'm going to give it a spray, trying to avoid all the rubber parts. The inside. It usually mostly dries itself up, but there's a couple of spots where it's pooling. So clean that up. Flip this around. So the next step, I'm just going to get a fine sandpaper and sand in some of the spots. I'll use a 180. 220. Should be my 180. So it might not look like we've done a lot, but compared to the other side and how grimy it still is, you can see quite a bit of difference. So we got a lot of that off. We're gonna get this papered up and then paint tomorrow morning. Hey, so as you can see, I've changed locations today. I am outside and on the water, but I'm in a hurry and I need to get this other caliper cleaned up. I just want to show you guys really quickly the difference between the clean caliper that I've already worked on and the one that's still just come off. So I'm going to turn you around and we'll check these out. So this is the one I've been working on. Take my hand, still a little bit, some of that was already on my finger, but there's a little dirt. But then the one I haven't worked on yet, just one swipe and it's black. So this is how dirty the calipers were, and this is where we're at before painting. So I've already got a first coat on here, but I just want to let you guys know. I taped up the rubber pieces. The new rotors have rubber pieces with them, but I just did this for best practice to show you guys. And then I've sprayed one coat already, giving it a couple minutes to dry, do 2 or 3 more coats, and then give it a little while, go grab lunch, and flip it over and do the other side. So looking pretty good so far. Hopefully I can keep it consistent and a nice even coat. Welcome back to day, I don't know, 3 or 4. I was up last night until about 2 o'clock in the morning trying to get the rest of the calipers painted, making sure everything is cured long enough that I can put everything back together. So I started today. The plan was to flush the brakes, but the brake fluid that's in there, it looks like it's been flushed pretty recently. I checked the back brakes. They were both fine, so I didn't flush too much through. I am going to check the front brakes before I get everything tidied back up, but it looks like we're pretty good on that end. So I'm just going to show you real quick the finished product of what the calipers look like down here. And so get it in the light a little bit. It turned out pretty good. Not completely even, but they'll wear pretty quickly, and I'm sure they'll start to fade and things will look a little more even. So real quick, I'm just going to put you down, put the calipers back together, get the pads on, and then we'll talk about the brakes that I've got and why I'm excited about them. So looking at rotors and pads, I was trying to find something that was within my price range, fairly inexpensive, but good quality. So I ended up going with Powerstop. These are the Z26s. which are their street performance, basically. They'll be good for the road still, but good at high temps for track. You can see this rotor is still in pretty decent shape, but the Z26s will definitely be an upgrade. As far as the pads go, you can see the difference here. The old pad is on the left and is maybe half thickness or so compared to the new pad. So I'm really excited to get these on. So let's get everything put together and get these brakes on the car, get the tires back on so we can do a quick check and hopefully get racing in a couple days. I think you can see what I'm doing down here a little bit. So that's in now, and let's get some pads in. What do you say? All right, so let's get the rotor on. Maybe we can work around the rotor. All right, so we've got the rotor on. There are some rotor screws, but I'm not going to worry about them. The other ones didn't have them. I think we'll be okay. So pads will slide in essentially like this. I do feel that overall I've made this way harder on myself than it needs to be. But we are learning. So, as always, as always, I'm going to get the first one, essentially what would be hand tight, and not tighten it all the way down until I have this one in, and this one will go tighter, and then I'll probably max out the other one, and then this one. All right, so I think I made a fatal error, at least for finishing this evening, in that I was trying to bleed the rear brakes before I put these on. It was just, for the sake of time, I thought, you know, maybe I could get it bled first, and I think pushing the brakes forced this out on both sides. So now I need a clamp. So I'm just going to do what I did on this side, on the other side, and call it a night. So I'll see you guys in the morning, and hopefully we can get this thing finished up. Welcome back. It's day 1000 or something on getting these brakes changed out. I went to AutoZone and got one of their free loaner caliper tools. This video is not sponsored by AutoZone, but I actually just found out that they have loaner tools, so I'm really excited to use this one and just take it back when I'm done. So it's early. I had very little sleep again last night. There's a lot going on in my life, plus trying to get this done in the last minute is a bad idea. But what we're gonna do, I think it should at this point only take about 15-20 minutes to get the calipers the rest of the way on and get tires back on the car. I am going to bleed the front brakes a little bit just because, I mean, I opened this one things are off. I just want to make sure that there's no air in the lines, but then I'll take you along a little bit later when I break them in. But other than that, let's get down there and go all in. So the driver's side one is the one that's less of a problem, let's say. I'm going to make sure I've got this piece. It'll go right in there. I think this is the right way to do this. Slide this in. Okay. And then I need to make sure I've got space. All right. Everything's in position. I'll start to push it out until it gets tight, and then make sure everything is right where it's supposed to be. And we're flush, we're all the way back. So I'm just going to undo it. Make sure we can slide it on. All right, everything's going to fit. It was a bit tight, and then it got loose. So I'm gonna bleed them real quick. I tried a one-person method with this bottle for the back, and that's the other half of the reason why I didn't continue. The tube is the wrong size. Everything was kind of working against me. So I'm gonna get my wife over here and bleed these brakes, and then we should be ready for the road.
I'd really appreciate you taking this ride with me. Please like this video and subscribe to my channel. And buckle up, grab a helmet, and join me at All In Driving. Till next time.